Mark your calendars. Easter, I can't believe it. We're only, it's like days away. So I know we still have a week or so, but I think as a mom, it's going to be coming up and all of a sudden it's going to be here. And then you're going to have to go make that order with the Easter bunny. So we're here. We're just going to do a little bit of Easter basket decorating. We have just a variety of things here. They're all bought at a thrifty store. So the deal for me was to try to keep a basket under $10. But while we're doing it, I think we're going to talk a little bit about Easter traditions. Anna, I know you probably have more traditions than I do.
I will say this. So my mom comes from a very large family. She's probably watching. Shout out, Mom. And as a result, you know, they very large but poor family. They didn't get a lot of like the funner holiday celebrations when she was a kid. So when we were kids, she made every holiday just huge. And one of the things she did on Easter, which I've now seen them come out with kits on, is she would tell us, hey, we're going to sprinkle baby powder on the carpet. And that way when the Easter bunny comes, you'll have proof because you can see the footprints, right?
That's true.
So then she would, at night when we were sleeping, she'd go around with a little washcloth, put 2 fingers in it, and she would just like bump, bump, bump for the little footprints. And because she was also a very smart lady, our minds thought scientifically even when we were in 2nd grade. And so we took our photographic evidence to school as irrefutable proof that the Easter bunny existed.
Yes, I absolutely love that.
Yeah, so it was awesome because it just created so much fun, and we did something along those lines too for Christmas. But yeah, so that was our biggest Easter tradition. We also did a lot of egg hunts, except they're usually in the house because it's in Michigan. It's still snowing. Like here, surprise. So yeah, she'd put stuff in eggs. How about you?
Well, you know, I got to admit here, I have a very bicultural family. So part of my family is Jewish. So we actually celebrate Passover. But you know, we mix a little bit of Christianity in there as well. But for me, I really didn't appreciate Easter as much until like later on, until I became a mom. And being a military spouse and being a military mom, a lot of it was like on me. So I never got crafty, and I didn't learn those little like nicks and tricks about, you know, but I do think that's really cute. I think that's a really cute idea. So ours is mostly, you know, you go to church and, you know, we'd have like a big brunch, but I don't really have any of those stories to share. You know, like I said, I was primarily raised by a grandpa, and he was a war veteran, and he said, it's time to go to the buffet. Like that's really it. I did not grow up like with that. So I learned how to become a mom and do all the women traditions, I think like later on in life. Like that's why I like cars. That's why I like sports. I really just am more of a tomboy. That's really it.
Well, I know my mom's family too. She was raised Catholic. I was raised a little bit Catholic, but because of that, they even did like the braiding of the palm leaves. Like we had palm leaf crosses and palm leaf decorations. Like they would have killed it on Survivor.
Yes,
but,
there you go.
It's kind of cute being able to take these things that maybe you learned as a kid, or you know, you're just able to celebrate that later as an adult, and I just think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's also really important to, I'm so happy that, you know, the pandemic things are starting to open up, because those Easter photos with the bunny are so important, and you don't know how important they are, because during the moment when you have a 2 or 3 year old, you're so exhausted. But then you look back 5 years later and you're just like, wow, I'm really glad we did that, because, you know, my kiddo grew, and I feel like it's important to take time out with your family. You know, work's obviously important. That's how you put money on the table, but it really is important to take pictures. That's I will say that.
It is. It's so much about building traditions. Not every family has the same tradition, but I love having some sort of traditions just because you want something to pass down to your family. You want to create that legacy, and like we just talked about, you know, like I just told you what my family tradition was. How cool it'd be in a few years if my kids can be like, hey, this is what we did when I was a kid, you know?
Right.
I want to have that connection.
Absolutely. I guess I have more like Christmas stories, because the whole Santa thing, but you know, I'm always up against Google, because nowadays children, all they do is just like Google all their little answers. But I did the Secret Santa thing of like eating the cookies and then writing a note. And I wrote back as an Easter bunny once and like wrote the paw. I mean, you do got to play around. And I think it's important, being a parent, is also remember that you're a kid. You got to be a kid. Bring out your kid.
Yeah, and yes, we're in a world where you have to be realistic, and there's a lot of challenges, especially with COVID, but just creating those magical moments for kids is just, I love it.
Right. Well, we shared some of our Easter traditions. We hope to hear from you guys. Why don't you guys send in like some of your photos of your baskets and what it is that you like to do. We'd love to come here and share it on the show. But up next, I believe, are we already at the end of the show? I'm looking at the time. We're
Goes
gonna have
so
your
fast, right?
daily motivation right after this.